We also go to have public testimony at the beginning of every meeting, and we will have some at the end of our meeting, or 5 p.m., whichever comes first. So I will call roll. I'll announce the committees that we have going on this week, and then we will go to public comment, just so everybody knows. Commissioner Briscoe, are you
present?
Commissioner Shepard?
Here.
And Commissioner Bell is here. And I don't think I see, oh, we don't have an airport advisory committee for the remainder of the year. That'll be next year. And then I know that the Marine Advisory Committee meeting is...
It's November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Harbor Center Building Conference Room. It's in person only.
I'm a little nervous today. There's an audience. I don't do well in front of people. And now we'll move on to public comment. Anybody wishing to speak before the commission? I've got a list here with 3 names on it. Anybody else, feel free to step up to the microphone, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to start with Kevin Foster.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Foster, longtime Whatcom County resident. I'm just here just to throw out congratulations to the port and ABC Recycling, Longshore 7 for collecting and loading a ship like they planned on doing. I thought everything went pretty well. Things can be worked out a little better, but and I just want to make a statement that I don't know what's going on with some of the complaints or whatever that's been going on, but the Bellingham Shipping Terminal is a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week facility, and as long as everything's being met legally as far as noise complaints and dust and stuff, I think there shouldn't be any problems with going forward with it. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Tyson King.
I'm Tyson King, resident here. I wanted to talk about with ABC and the longshoring. I don't know if a lot of people realize how much money that's bringing into our community with just the workers. We have out-of-town workers that come in, 5, 10 guys a day sometimes more. Every one of them has to get a motel. Every one of them has to eat. I went with some friends from other ports. We ate at the Black Cat. We ate at Boundary Bay, the waterfront, Coconut Grove, Fielding Station. Now all this work that goes down at the port, well, some people, I don't want to sound bad, some people have a very closed mind about the noise or they don't like the side of the industry and don't realize how much money this is bringing into these communities. It's very possible that the same person that might be complaining about the noise is also getting their paycheck from a place that we're, patronizing? I don't know what the correct word is. We're eating at their establishment and they're complaining about the people coming. So I just wanted to throw that out. It's great. Environmentally, it's great. This is recyclable materials. It's a win-win for the community and just maybe something for people to think about before they whine. That was it.
That's the only thing you did was eat at those establishments? That's it, just eat?
You see all this? Just this is eating.
Nothing but food?
Nothing but food.
Joe Schmidt. Welcome, sir.
Joe Schmidt, longtime resident also, 830 East Douglas, Bellingham. I just want to see, since ABC signed this deal with the port, it said in the motion we have a meeting Thursday, we're getting 8 more full-time longshoremen here in Bellingham, bring our numbers up to 18. Also with a backup of 30 part-time casual workers that will eventually, hopefully we can move them up to full-time. And they're family wage jobs. I was able to raise a family, buy a house, 3 kids on a single wage earning job. And anyway, it's been a really good thing, and I can see more coming if we can get more work here. Our membership will continue to grow, and I hope we can continue on.
My understanding is that this is the first time you've had full employment with your Bellingham crew here in Bellingham for a long time.
Yeah, since 2003, I believe. Well, when the mill left, that's when most of our work left and we had to travel. And a lot of the travel people that are coming in now, we'll be replacing them with our own guys as soon as we get the numbers up, which is coming. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, that's all we have signed up. Is there anybody in the room that would like to speak? Colin?
Good afternoon. My name is Colin Lowen. I'm a resident town in the lettered streets, and I simply wanted to say that it's exciting for me to see people seeing our port work. I don't have a job in the port, but I moved to Bellingham, and I knew I was coming to a town that has a long history of working on the waterfront, not just the Europeans that came here, but before that, the native population here, they did a lot of trading themselves. And to see this port actually, to see us creating jobs and to see product moving in and out of this port, it's exciting. This town has a lot of expenses, this area does, and expenses only get paid when people have jobs to pay taxes so that things like emergency services can get covered. We now have a port that is working towards getting longshoremen back to work full time, and that's exciting. And frankly, if locally, if we have to have some inconveniences in order to make that happen, so be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? Anybody online, if you wish to say something to the Port Commission, please raise your hand. Can we go to full screen on that so we can see? Just on a side note, I was there when that ship pulled out, and it was inspiring. It just made it was just absolutely beautiful. When you see a big boat like that pulling off the dock, it's an amazing thing to watch. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mark Jerry. I'm a longtime Bellingham resident. I've lived in Sunnyland, Fairhaven. I'm a second-generation port worker now that I'm a casual. Hopefully one of the people to be elevated to being a B-man. My children benefit from this. My family is able to continue to live in Bellingham because of the quality of the jobs that this opportunity provides. And I'm really thankful that we get to continue the tradition, both at the port and both within our own family, as well as bringing more people in our community into the ILWU. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for getting the contract sorted out so that we can have an active port again. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, I see no one. Yeah, what a great juxtaposition. We used to be exporting our laborers from the laborers union to other places, and today you're bringing other people into here to complete jobs. What a good day this is. All right, that's my comment.
I'd like to say something if I could, Commissioner Bell.
Your name is who, and what's your address?
Bobby Briscoe, Port Commissioner, Hood Canal at the moment.
Oh, go Bob.
Okay. So I grew up on the south side of Bellingham. My father worked at the terminal as well as the Fairhaven terminal when it was there. And there's always been industry on our waterfront. And for those people that appear to be complaining, apparently they came after the industry had subsided, so to speak. Most of you are probably recyclers, as was mentioned. This is part of recycling. It's part of the process. The noise was intermittent and it was short-lived. It wasn't weeks long, months long, it was a few days. This is a great start for the Port of Bellingham to get that port going again so that the port can pay for itself so we don't have to raise people's property taxes, which we don't like doing. We should be self-sustaining, I've always said that. Our waterfront is a great place. Bellingham's a great place, and there's always been industry on the waterfront. Sometimes there's noise. So instead of complaining, maybe you should figure out ways to deter the noise from bothering. Earplugs, light music, I don't know, something. Where I live, the trains go by, refinery's noisy. They were there before I moved there. I chose to live there. Maybe you should have looked into the area you moved to a little bit more if you want to have noise, because there's a working terminal there. And this commissioner is going to do everything he can to make sure it works more than it has been for a long, long time. And it needs to be out in full content as far as I'm concerned. So please don't complain. Just help us make it better. We're putting people to work. We're moving product that's need to be recycled with this particular company. You know, log ships used to load 24 hours a day. Aluminum ore ingots used to be loaded 24 hours a day. None of that stuff was quiet, but it was putting people to work. That's what we're doing now. We're doing our job. And that's what you elected us for as commissioners, is to make sure that the port is in the right direction to create jobs and a healthy economy for the Whatcom County. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll jump in. I just want to note, you know, we did get a lot of people contact us by phone and email and text and every other method about the noise. I did get a lot of those were also included. We appreciate that the port is putting people to work. And so I did hear that from a lot of people. You know, most of the complaints were about the latest band of that work session, that 11 to 3 segment. And there were certainly some other questions, you know, are there any other pieces of technology that would be useful? Would it be quieter if we had a conveyor belt that was moving things instead of picking them up and dropping them? That's a question I don't know. Are there any other, you know, ways that we can mediate some of the noise so we are responsive to individuals who are asking us to be good neighbors that still allow us to continue this operation and all the benefits that it's providing?
Thanks, Commissioner. Staff did order up a noise report. We've got the results of that back. We're doing some editing to that, and then we'll take action on that. The noise report does recognize a couple things that could possibly help reduce the noise. Sound curtains, even just containers stacked up near the area so it bounces towards the water and not up the hill. Some of these measures are really affordable. Some of them are really elaborate. But over the next couple of weeks and months, staff and I will be sitting down and involve the longshoremen and make sure that whatever solution we come up with does not impede their ability to work and get the job done along with ABC. So we'll be working as a group to make sure that we can do what we can, but not impede the operations. The Port of Bellingham is going to be making a substantial investment in the shipping terminal over the next decade, and it literally is going to take a decade for all that investment to happen. It would be sad to see that investment go in and then have people cry to shut us down. So we're motivated to mitigate the noise the best we can, but we also recognize the need for commerce to move, and finding that balance is what we'll be trying to do over the next couple of months.
I understand we did acoustic monitoring, and some interesting things came out of it. You know, one, the train is noisier than the operation, which, and we are working to get that train whistle to blow less with our quiet zones. We're investing quite heavily to make that possible, and we're going to keep working on that. I understand we didn't sample the entire time. Most of the complaints I got were for the Monday shift, and I don't believe we sampled that day. So I think next time we have a boat, it would be useful to get a little bit more accurate understanding, because the the results we got back showed that we were in compliance with the noise ordinances that exist. And so, we want to be in compliance. If we're out of compliance, we need to know about it. And I think it would be useful to one, look at what are any of those mitigation opportunities, and to have a little more complete picture on the noise.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will order up several days next time in the middle of the session, if you will. So the ship came in Saturday night. We did our noise on Sunday night. In hindsight, we should have done Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday night. Those days, I think, would have given us a little better readings. But we'll do that for the next one. And like I said, we'll be working on mitigation methods, and we'll find a balance that works.
Is there any benefit to a conveyor belt? Is that even a useful suggestion, or does that
I don't think a conveyor belt would work for this type of material.
For some of it would, but not for all of it.
Not for all of it. Would it decrease noise or speed up operation? And any benefits to this?
You're still,
Yeah, please.
you're still going to go into a hopper, and it's still going to dump into the bay of the.
Not that bad.
Andy Anthony from ABC Recycling. A conveyor would work only for one particular grade of commodity that we're loading right now. We're loading that at such a small quantity that a conveyor is not justifiable from a CapEx expenditure point at this point. That will happen sometime in the future when our shredder is operational here. We will be using a conveyor. What we call cut grade materials, the bulk of what we've been loading, conveyors just don't work for that material. It's too bulky, it's too heavy, be too destructive on a conveyor operation. That's why we have to load it either with ship's gear and grapples or with, at some point, the Liebherr dock crane and a tilt pan. When the dock can support that weight, we will convert that to the method of loading away from the grabs that we're using now, which will be a little bit quieter. Probably same noise from the dump perspective as dumping on the dock or dumping into a tilt pan. But yeah, conveyors, not option at this point.
Is there any option, any benefit to a rubberized surface that gets dumped on?
Not on the surface, potentially we put down steel plates to protect the dock when we dump scrap on the dock for ship loading, potentially underneath the steel as a dampener, but on top of the plates to dump onto, literally, no, because once you grab the material, you would just
shred that thing.
You would just take you'd have to replace them every time literally you dumped, and that's just not reasonable to do that in between operations. But potentially underneath the plate, that's maybe a dampener. I don't know if that would work anything or not. Yeah.
And the strengthening of the pier that was mentioned is in the plans. We plan to strengthen that pier to get to the point where they can load, and maybe can go into a little more detail of what that loading looks like once we do that.
So if and when we can use the Liebherr, the 420 dock crane, it would be essentially like a large dump bed off of a dump truck that our transfer trucks would dump literally into that, and that gets picked up with the crane and dumped as like a big scoop right into the hatch of the ship instead of the grabs off the ground one at a time. It increases capacity. The swing time is about the same as the ship's gear, but you get about 2 to 3 times the capacity every time you dump into the ship as opposed to using the grabs. Yeah.
And let me just ask another question. How important is it for ABC's operation to work that 11 to 3 shift?
It's critical because you only have a certain amount of lay time for that ship at the dock. So you have an X number of days to load. Anything beyond that, you pay demurrage, which on a vessel that size is around $25,000 a day. So you definitely need to stay inside that window. We would work around the clock if it were feasible. The hoot owl shift just doesn't work for us because it's only a 5-hour total shift. It's quite expensive, and you don't get a lot of production time on that on the ship loading side. We do use the hoot owl shift for offloading barges. It works in that respect. The hoot in the day shift works better, but for ship loading, it doesn't. So the night shift is critical for us, yeah. It would double the load time if we didn't use it.
Just for that 11 to 3?
If we remove the 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., so
that's the one
we would increase our load time by 50% then. Okay. Yeah, which would definitely put us past the lay date that we'd had for the ship, and we would incur some significant demurrage charges if we were to go that route.
And it's more than just demurrage charges. You've got a crew that stays over an extra day. I mean,
that's correct.
Every day you
more labor
labor
costs as well. Yeah,
it's compounding.
That's correct. Yeah. Yep.
Any other suggestions for us as we're thinking about,
for noise mitigation?
Noise mitigation, strategies that have worked in other places you guys have operated in?
The most used sound mitigation technique in the scrap business is stacked containers, exactly what was mentioned before. They're affordable, They're mobile. You can reposition them if one position works better than the other. You can add and remove them for an operation. They don't have to be permanent, and they work really good. They deflect and mitigate the noise at the same time. And I think that would probably be our best course, at least initially, to see how those work.
Yeah, that seems like something that is could be quite feasible for us to look at.
Yeah,
Just a side note, if you use a reefer, you've got an extra added insulation inside the container to buffer some of the sound. We found reefers to be really nice.
Yeah. You got a lot of voided space in an 8-foot wide container.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 2 walls of insulation on each side.
Okay.
By the way, your trucks painted red are
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
Those are nice looking trailers, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. Those just came online yesterday, in fact. Yeah.
Are they going to be red long?
As long as we can keep them red. Yeah.
Yeah, they're-
Not on the inside.
So when you see that bright red truck with ABC going down the side of the road, say thank you to the driver.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions for me, folks? Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, and I think all of you in the room know that if we had just moved from the operations we had at GP back in 2000, 2002, right into this, there would have been no complaints. It's the fact that we had a 20-year hiatus. So the fact that it took us 20 years to get it back operational gave a lot of people a lot of peace on that hill, and they just sort of didn't get used to they sort of got unused to having a working waterfront. But this is what a working waterfront looks like. This is what you have a port for. All right.
Just one more. Just thank you, everyone, for coming out. This is awesome. The support just means a lot to us. It tells us we're going in the right direction. The community appreciates what we're doing. Just thank you for taking the time and coming and saying something.
And thanks for bringing your kids. Just getting them engaged early is a big deal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Commissioners. I had some prepared comments, but that's water under the bridge at this point. I'm sorry. I'm Jim Kyle, President of the Working Waterfront Coalition of Whatcom County. So we are excited about what's happening with ABC Recycling. Most of the things I was going to mention have been covered. I do have a long-term concern about the voices from the people that are paying the cost of the noise. And I think it's something we should be careful not to allow fester over time and come back to bite us at some point as redevelopment happens. So I would encourage you to arrange somehow to have face-to-face meetings with these people, explain what the limits of the mitigation can be and what the possibilities are, and to try to bring them on board as much as possible. I know that's not easy, but I think that's a step that the port should take. So anyway, congratulations to everyone. We're fully supportive. Thank you.
that's a great idea, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, that's sound advice. I think that's, and we do that type of work a lot. We do a lot of outreach with different community groups, and this is no different. Okay.
South Hill Neighborhood Association, here we come. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak? Please speak up. Okay, we're going to move to the consent agenda. Carrie, if you don't mind.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through D.
Commissioner Shepard.
I don't have any comments.
Commissioner Briscoe?
I have no comments.
And I have no comments either.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through D.
Commissioner Briscoe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay, can't wait for this one. 2023 budget. No, you guys have done your job. Thank you very much.
It's just budget from here.
That was Tamara's way of saying she doesn't want you to hear the numbers. I'd stick around.
The two kids have to stick around. We'll put them to sleep. Thank you,
Thanks
gentlemen.
for coming out.
Tamara, I actually enjoy this more than I put on. That's all
I know you do. Tamara Sobjack, CFO, Port of Bellingham. I have a very, very brief presentation tonight. At last meeting, Commission asked two things of me. One, to make a case for the 1% property tax increase, and two, for a joke. And I plan to deliver on both. So Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd break into a distillery. Daffy turns to Elmer. "Is this whiskey?" Elmer says, "Yes, but not as whiskey as robbing a bank."
Oh, that's an A+.
I won't, yeah. Okay, so the second deliverable is to talk about tax revenues. So at our budget retreat, we did discuss some pretty important large projects that are non-revenue producing. And so we identified the funding source as general obligation bonds. And GO bonds are paid for with property taxes. So these major infrastructure projects, industrial land in Blaine, stormwater at FMIP, road development at the waterfront, those are the big ones. If we issued, we're estimating $33 million in debt, that's about $2.5 million per year in annual payments over 20 years. So if we're looking at, 2022, we issued we levied 7.7 million in property taxes. If we decided to just keep it flat, and I know that the commission, can't obligate future commissions, but for illustrative purposes, I've got a 5-year plan. So if we just did 5 years, flat, no increase, we would bring in $38.9 million. If we started in 2023 and increased property taxes 1% per year, that 5-year number jumps to 40.1. Let me move this guy. That's a difference over a 5-year period of nearly $1.2 million. So the additional tax will help pay for that debt that we are planning on issuing, and also reduce the number of projects that we'll have to defer because we're limited on tax dollars. So that's the first point. The second point is we've seen the largest increase in prices over 40 years. So employment costs, goods, services, utilities, all of that has skyrocketed. The port has some public priority divisions that are paid for with property taxes. All of economic development, the Marine Life Center, all our parks, the waterfront, all of that is paid for with property taxes. So to the extent that we can increase it a little bit each year, helps pay for those projects and those programs. So that's my case.
So quick question on the levy.
Yes.
With the increase in property values, do we not get more money?
No, we levy a dollar amount.
And that dollar amount is steady?
Yes. So we tell the county how much money we want, and they spread that out.
We don't benefit from the inflationary price of housing on the property tax bill?
No.
It is a stated amount?
Correct.
I see you over there.
And at this point, we're considering a 1% for this next year.
Right. We'll have to.
You're projecting this is a 5-year, but we're not agreeing to 5 years today.
That's right. Right. I'm just asking for a
Take this on a case-by-case basis each year when we do the budget process.
Absolutely. We have to pass a resolution every single year.
Right. And the past 2 years, we have not done an increase. Is that correct?
I don't remember.
We did last year.
I think we did last year, but not the year before.
Not the year before.
It's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think last year's the first year in 5 years that we've done an increase.
See.
So essentially, we're agreeing that between now and 2023, we will increase taxes by $77,000.
Correct.
To the port budget.
Correct.
Not $1.1 million.
No. This is illustrative purposes only.
But it is compounding.
That's right.
Commissioner Briscoe?
Well, you guys know me. I'm always the anti-tax guy, but we've gotten to the position. With the cost of doing business and taking care of the people's infrastructure that the port manages, so to speak, that, at this point in time, it warrants increasing. However insignificantly it is, we still need an increase. I don't like to do this, but I think I beat the drum the hardest and held it off for the time period Rob was speaking to, but it's inevitable that there has to be an increase at some point. I don't know that it's the best time to increase. I don't know if there ever is a good time to increase, but clearly we have a lot of things to fix. And until we can get that shipping terminal up and running full blast, which we're trying to do, the money has to come from somewhere, as to was spoken to in the earlier discussions. So I would have to say that I'm going to be in favor of the increase at this point in time. Single year only. And it was $77 some odd thousand, and people understand we're not increasing 1.1 million. So, and it is each year we vote on this and talk about it. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Shepherd.
I think, given our costs for this coming year and the projects we are working on, that we have an adequate rationale to put this 1% for the year, and we'll reevaluate it again next year.
So I know you probably can't do this in your head, but if you're to compound that 77,000 out that same 5 years, what do you think? Where do you think you'd be?
That is compounded out.
It'd be 77,000 in 2023. Oh, then it would stay steady.
So then you
So we just get an additional 77,000 each year.
on top of the one that you took
So it'd be
before.
77,000 times 5.
No, it's more than that.
1, 2, 3.
Because the first year is 77,000, the second year, you're still getting that 77 plus the 1%.
No,
He's saying without the 1%.
Oh, without the
If we don't
1%.
do the 1% from here going forward.
That's correct. It'd be 77 times 5. That's right.
So we'd be at $380,000 and change. So this 1% increase over the next 5 years is about $380,000 to
I see what you're getting at now, yes.
copper. I don't always speak accountant.
And I don't always not listen, accountant.
All right, this is tough for me because I see 19 cents per thousand coming on one initiative this year, and I see another 10 cents per thousand coming on another to our property taxes. And I just have a very difficult time in an inflationary period where housing is going up and where interest rates are going up and where fees are going up. So Bobby, I'm going to play your role. I'm not going to let you speak yet. Keep going. And just say that this is a tough lift for me. The problem is I see what infrastructure we need on the docks. And I just can't, I have a tough time with the homeowner paying more at a time like this, especially this hits the hardest at the lower income people in our community. They're the ones who actually have to get a loan for their house and aren't paying cash. So they're the ones that are going to be impacted the most. So I'm not trying to sway you, Bobby, in any way, shape, or form. I'm just feeling the pain of those people who have to pay the bills. And I honestly don't know how I'm going to vote when it comes down to it. But right now, I'm not happy about it.
What's our levy per thousand?
Calculated for 2023 would be about 15 cents because property values increased so much.
Yeah.
One of the lowest levies you'll see on your property tax statement is the Port of Bellingham.
I know, and you think about the fact that we're just going to add 19 on one and we're going to add another 10 on another. I mean, that's just, we're a steal for what we provide. All right, shall we go to vote on this?
Well, it's not, I don't have a motion in front of you. We'll need to approve, or I'll need the commission to approve the budget next meeting. And in that meeting, I'll have the resolution. So I need to know what to present to commission for their next meeting.
So we do need to give you an answer on this.
I need direction. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make the motion that we approve the 1% increase for 2023. Is there a second?
Do we need to do this as a motion?
I don't think so. She just needs head nods.
We've never done a motion on it before.
We just need head nods.
Just a head nod.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just need to know what to present to commission.
Oh, I've screwed up this meeting from the beginning.
At our next meeting, I need to know what to present that you would approve.
We do need to have a strategic budget hearing, though. We need to recess and go into a public hearing.
Yeah.
yeah, after this.
You know, I feel like we've talked about this at the budget retreat, and we understood, I at least understood the rationale and was supportive of it then, and I continue to be now. So I'm okay with moving forward with the 1%, and we'll certainly reevaluate it next year. I like having a clear rationale. You know, I think it's very helpful for us to see exactly where these resources are going to go. So we're able to justify it when people ask.
Great.
But I do think as an organization, you can see how much we are struggling with a very small amount of money here. And we try and be very careful with tax resources. And I think we work really hard to stretch the money that we do have. We are dogged about going after grants and using every other mechanism that we have to make public dollars go far. And we are a unique level of government where those investments actually do typically go further because we are so business orientated and have a lot of revenue positive projects for government.
You want to give a nod, Bobby? Oh, you were going to say yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a couple more things. You know, I don't like doing this. I struggle with it. Don't think I don't. The no part is right there for me to say. But once in every 5 years, if we can hold it to raising it, that percentage once in every 5 years, I think we've done a pretty good job with our money. This isn't taken lightly by me. Specifically to what you said, Ken, the added things to people already. Tamara, have you ever figured out that 1% on a $400,000 home, roughly what the increase would be? I haven't even run the numbers. I don't have a calculator in front of me.
So I calculated what the levy rate would be for a $500,000 home using the 1%, and that's about $75.
Total.
Annually.
Yes. Yes.
That being said, I mean, a second. So it's $625 a month. Is that right? What I came up with in my head, thinking here about $625 a month. You know.
I'm sorry, on a
$640 a month.
On a $400,000 home, if the levy rate is 15% currently, that's a $60 a levy. And if you increase that by 1%, it's 60 cents a month.
Right.
So times 12 months, you're talking about $7.20 increase on a $400,000 home.
Good luck finding a $400,000 home.
Hopefully that'll straighten out too. But I'm going to give a head nod, yes, and it's not a light head nod. I mean, I struggle with it, whether it's right or wrong. The position we're in, the things we have to accommodate for the public, we have to do a little bit here.
So the direction is you've got 2 votes. Just bring it forward with that.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we're going to close our meeting, and we're going to open up the public hearing portion of the, to anybody here wish to comment on our strategic budget should do so now. Anybody online, feel free to raise your hand. But we are now open. Roll call, and do I need to do roll call again for this? No. Anybody wishing to speak on our strategic budget? Anybody wish to help me with the tax levy? Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm going to reopen our public meeting. And we will go to other business. Thank you. Mr. Commissioner Briscoe?
No, but that was a slick move. I like that.
You know, Bobby, I've been disjointed all day, so this is, I'm just bringing that dysfunction to the table.
I like that you got two. You don't need mine. Well, that was pretty good. All right. No, I have no other business this time, Commissioner Bell.
I give lessons on the weekends if you want. Commissioner Shepard.
My only other business today was discussing the shipping terminal, and I think we've already had a thorough discussion on that. So I think we have ideas about what to do next and continue to value the employment opportunities there, and we want to be responsive neighbors. So we're going to, you know, we're always trying to do both at the same time, and we'll continue moving forward. I think Rob has a good idea about what we're looking for, and we will. I will offer to make myself available to the South Hill Neighborhood Association meeting when it comes up next as well.
I really appreciate hearing from ABC that the containers have been effective in the past, because we hear that from a consultant, and you're like, okay, is that going to work? But if it's worked for you, it seems like an easy fix.
I like that. Inexpensive, we can move them around. We always need, if we ever don't need them, we'll move them into the container village.
You can actually do retail right there on the dock.
Yeah, what about finding a company that, a barber or somebody that's renting these, you know, stow it. They got those rental containers. We can just store them for them down there and help the noise.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay. Anything else? My other business is I just wanted to thank our employees, and thank you, Rob, and thank you, Carrie, and the committee for putting together that chili cook-off the other day. What that did for morale was absolutely fabulous. I hate to give Matt Chapman too much credit, but he put a tremendous soup together, and the award winners were spectacular. I put our chilies up against anybody else in the country. So what a great time that was, and thanks for the bonding opportunity with everybody there in the pavilion.
And so that's our human resources and our employee committee that does that event. And the employee committee does several events throughout the year. They just do a great job with that.
Yeah, it was fabulous, and it was something to watch. And again,
I'd like to give my apologies to the folks for not attending. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks here. I've got another week. I'll be gone, but I would have liked to have been there, tasted a few of those soups. So once again, I apologize for not being present.
And then the last thing on the shipping terminal, if you go to the Armory and stand outside the door during a pickleball tournament, you will hear screams louder than that steel hitting that ship up there on South Hill. That's my last word. Meeting adjourned.
No, you got it.
Public testimony.
Public comment. Anybody wishing? Meeting adjourned.